Shalom. Preparing the next Torah portion, and the main focus for this Torah portion is the Red Heifer. So the Red Heifer is a very controversial topic in the circles where the Orthodox and the rabbis are trying to figure out what it is all about. Now, one of the reasons it is a anomaly or something that they can't explain, not even King Solomon could give an answer of what the meaning of the Red Heifer is, because it's a sacrifice, and the ashes of the sacrifice mixed with water, it's called the water of separation, then sprinkled upon the person with the uncleanness, makes that person clean, but the priest who is doing the sprinkling becomes unclean. So the uncleanness transfer from the unclean person to the priest, who is a clean person. So it is as if the priest is carrying the burden of the uncleanness upon himself. Now, if you connect the uncleanness to leprosy, if you sprinkle a leper, then leprosy will come upon the priest until evening. Of course, the next day it will be gone. So it's a temporary illness or transition of whatever the uncleanness is all about that need to be carried upon the priest. Now, we know, since we follow Mashiach, Yeshua, that he is the priest who does the sprinkling. He's also the Red Heifer sacrifice. Now, 2 years back I had in the same parasha, well, I'll put it in this one as well, the picture of where the Red Heifer sacrifice took place. And it's exactly on the same place where Yeshua's crucifixion took place. And from that point you can look directly into the temple, and when the veil torn, it's not a side to side tearing, it's on top, I think it was an 18-inch lintel, round lintel or beam, over which the veil was hung to form a little channel, so they enter in on the one side, walk through it, and exit on the other side. So they're completely shielded from the outside world, so nobody can gaze upon the Ark of the Covenant except the high priest will go in there once a year on the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur. So that in itself is an interesting concept, and how that relates to the Red Heifer. Now, what's interesting about the Red Heifer, this morning I read about the Philistines who took the Ark, and they brought the Ark back on an ox wagon pulled by 2 red heifers, and they crushed the wagon, used the wood as firewood, and sacrificed the red heifers upon the stone, which is the threshing floor for the wheat harvest. Now put that in the mix and shake it in your head and figure out what that means. Now, wheat harvest from our journey coming from the mountain, also the symbolism of the lilies around the mountain, and how that connected to the wheat belly of the pregnant lady, which is the Feast of Sukkot, which is the impregnation of the women. There's actually 2 women. The one gives natural birth, the other one has a breech baby. The breech baby is the woman who long back to her husband, who is Baal. The other one is the woman who does the things of Yahweh, depicting the 5 foolish virgins and the 5 wise virgins, the ones who are about to become pregnant and give birth. Now, the body of Messiah is divided into those 2 as well. So that is the context of the red heifers. 2 red heifers being sacrificed on the threshing floor of the wheat harvest. Now, the wheat harvest, as we know, there's a parable in the New Testament that talks about the threshing floor, and then the grain will be moved and the chaff will be burnt by fire. So it's a lot of symbolism that alludes to judgment, the the wheat harvest and the chaff, the separation of the foolish and the wise, and the consuming of the foolish. We stepped on that last week when we looked at the city, the fire that will come down, the purification, the burning of the chaff, and the threshing floor in the context of the end time timeline is the 1,000 years. Now we see the same symbolism in this Torah portion relating to the 2 red heifers, because the Philistines had taken the ark. They took the ark, placed it in their temple of Dagon, and Dagon means fish, and their priests could not believe that their Dagon deity bowed down before Yahweh. It fell over because of the presence of the ark in their temple, and they removed the ark and moved it to various other towns. And the ark traveled for 7 months. So we see the number 7, the 7th millennium. And part of that, one of the meanings of the first place where the temple is, means strength. And it also means, it's 2 words. Ish David is the place, the name of the place, which is the fire of the beloved. So now we see the context of the judgment, the presence of the beloved, the king, who is King Mashiach, the beloved king who will come. And then the very next place where they take the ark to is called the winepress. That's the meaning of that place's name. And that depicts the 1,000 years. So we see the same symbolism of the threshing, the burning of the chaff, the 1,000 years. And then the last place that's mentioned is called the place that is unrooted, where it's taken out, and immigration or dwelling. So you're no longer dwelling in villages. That's also one of the meanings of one of those. That's actually a meaning of Philistines. So they're no longer dwelling in villages. They're dwelling in tents. They sojourners through the time period of the 1,000 years, which is the threshing floor that's depicted by these 2 oxen. Very interesting picture with the red heifer in context with our storyline, where we discover the enemies, the end times, and all that. A few other interesting things that I might share later this week, but definitely next Saturday on the Sabbath, where we are going to delve into a bit more detail. So I hope you have a lovely day. I'm looking forward to sharing the information regarding Yahweh's word, specifically in context of this controversial topic, which is the red heifer. I hope you have a lovely day. Shalom.